After yet another brutal showing by the Calgary Flames, now far removed from the Cinderella team they were to begin the year, a lot of questions have been raised. Questions about what you may ask, pretty much everything from coaching to goaltending to special teams. What the heck is wrong with the Flames right now? And what the heck am I wearing? Happy Halloween to everyone out there. As you can see, I got the old chicken costume on. Feel free to comment down below, Mark is a chicken, or any synonym of chicken that you want. But either way, had to keep it light after another terrible loss. But before we get into all of that, I do want to welcome you to Flames Digest. I'm Mark Griffith. If you're new around here and you love the Flames, make sure you subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest news, updates, reports, and rumors revolving around your Calgary Flames. We would love to welcome you to the Flames Digest family. And I already look silly, but let's get into another team that looked very silly in last night's game. And once again, a bit of a brutal one, not going to lie. Now, the saving grace with the 2 games ago, so the game prior to last night's, was that it was against a really good team in the Vegas Golden Knights. You know, top of the Pacific, we got smoked. It's in Vegas. You expect the players to not play all that great because they're probably out partying in Sin City. But last night, you can't say the same. A 5-1 loss in our first ever game in Utah, and it was just another abysmal showing by the Flames. And you don't have the same excuse you do in Vegas that you do in Utah because, well, you don't have the same excuse in Utah that you do in Vegas, I should say, because Utah, Salt Lake City, the exact opposite of Vegas. It's not known for its parties, for its, alcohol, caffeine even. So what the heck was wrong with the players? Why didn't they show up? Well, the one thing we always do is look at the box score and see who did any of the scoring. And of course, our one goal scorer last night was Anthony Mantha. It was great to see him get on the scoring sheet once again last night. But, I mean, after yesterday's video, it's so ironic. I swear that video spawned this Mantha goal. We saw Kirkland once again getting on the score sheet. Great to see him still scoring. And MacKenzie Weegar got an assist, while Dustin Wolf did not have his best game. 5 goals allowed on just 28 shots, so only 23 saves, an .821 save percentage. You can't really blame him for the loss. Still, that's not great. Were any of the goals his fault? Not really. One was debatable. Could have been a decently easier save, but I don't know. The rest of the way, he was just hung out to dry, and it did really stink for him. I do feel bad. But that was last night's game. But of course, since it stunk, this has raised a lot of questions. We're going to get into some of these questions raised. And it's not just from last night, it's from this whole 4-game losing streak. And the first question, honestly, is what the is wrong with the Flames? Feel free to put in whatever word you want. What the heck? I know in the thumbnail of this video it says what the ... at the bottom. Y'all know what I want to say if YouTube would let me. But either way, what the heck is wrong with the Flames right now? So we're going to take a good look at this. These are the stats of the team over the first 5 games and then the last 5 games. So the Flames are 10 games in now. We were 5-0-1. Everything looked so great. 4-0-1 in the first 5 games. But of course, terrible since then. 4 straight regulation losses. But either way, if we get into the first stat here. So 5v5 expected goals for percentage. In the first 5 games, it was 54.68%. Well over 50%, which is fantastic. But in the last 5, hovering around 40%. So between the first 5 and the last 5, that is minus 14.5% pretty much change. That is dreadful. 5v5, expected goals for per 60. We were 2.87 in the first 5 games to just 1.84 in the last 5. In today's NHL, that is horrendous. And I know a lot of the goals come from the power play. It comes from special teams, even empty netters. So 5v5 gets a little bit skewed in that way, but still, less than 2 5v5 goals per game is terrible. Well, per 60, I should say. 5v5 expected goals against per 60, 2.38 in the first 5. Not too bad, but 2.74 up quite a bit. 0.36% more. That is just not good. 5v5 shooting percentage, our shooting percentage way down by 1.26%. Still 8% is pretty bad, but it's not awful. But anywhere near 10%, you are doing a really good job. That's what you want to shoot for. 5v5 save percentage has gone down quite significantly as well. It was 95.61% through the first 5 games. The Flames were playing well defensively, and the goalies got, some amazing stats from it, but that has not continued as in the last 5, just 91.49%. That is 4.12% less. What the heck is going on? If we get into the special teams now, so power play expected goals for per 60, we're at 6.42, now 8.93. So what's going on here? The power play's better? What's this all about? No, that's just expected goals for per 60, which means the Flames are getting more power plays and still not capitalizing off of it. If we go into the power play shooting percentage, so we were at 27.78%. Great shooting percentage through those first 5 games to now 0%. No power play goals. That is awful. If we get into the penalty kill, the penalty kill expected goals against per 60 was 5.38 through the first 5, so pretty expected when you're a team taking penalties. But now 11.51, that just means that the penalty kill has been kind of bad, which isn't necessarily true because it's been pretty good. It just means the Flames, again, are taking more penalties than before. Penalty kill save percentage was at an 80%. It's actually gone up. That's the one stat here that's gotten better. Again, it's because the Flames have taken more penalties, but still, at least one thing's going better, and it's the penalty kill save percentage. But what the heck is going on with the Flames? It's so weird. In pretty much every stat, the Flames are worse off. Now, if we get into my next kind of question here, it's about Huska. It's about the coaching. What's going on here? And we need to look at some quotes from Huska. So he said, "I thought we got outplayed in almost every position," said Huska, particularly miffed at his forwards, of course talking against the game, or about the game against Utah. "The last 2 games for me, there's a little pushback with how we have to play. If we're going to try to play a fancy, cute game, it's not going to work for us. The last 2 games, the work ethic hasn't been the way it has to be. That's a big reason we've scored 1 goal in the last 2 games and allowed 10. And it comes from the coaching. Look, Ryan Huska, I honestly think, is a great coach. But in today's NHL, coaches like to mix things up a little bit too much. Certain games are overcoached, especially when it comes to the lineups. I know anyone who watches baseball thinks the same thing when they overmanage a game. And I mean, now that baseball's over, congratulations to the Dodgers on winning the World Series. What an inning by the Yankees. But either way, we're talking about Ryan Huska here. Stay on task, Mark. Is it Halloween or something? Why is your mind so spooky? But either way, Huska, a lot of people are starting to question him a little bit. You know, he's saying these things, but he's the one who has the power to change some of these things. Again, I think Huska is a great coach. I think what he does is great, but he has to take a good look and talk to some of these leaders on this team to change some of this stuff. For a coach whose club wants to be known as one of the hardest teams in the league to play against, is he concerned at how easy his group was to dominate? Sure, absolutely, he said. Hopefully it's something the older guys take upon themselves because of what they stand for or what they accept is what we're going to get. Whoa! I know he's saying the right thing here, but still, it almost sounds like shots fired when you read it in an article. If they're okay with it, we're going to see that more often, which we know they're not. There are a lot of people that aren't okay with it, I'll tell you that much, but we have to make sure we're moving together in the right direction, and I completely agree there. So again, some questions are starting to come up about Huska and maybe some of these line combos. Why are certain people going down like Klapka while certain people are staying up? I know Hanzik came back, and that's fantastic. That's one of those guys we want to commit to. But still, why is the 4th line so different? We've gone over it in the past couple of videos, but why not go back to what worked? The Flames were pretty much the best team in the NHL through the first 5 or 6 games of the year, and the lines have changed significantly since then. Now, of course, everyone is healthy now, and that, in a way, makes it more complicated. I won't say it hurts it. It makes it more complicated. But still, you'd think you'd kind of go with what worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know what's going on here. Lots of questions involving Huska. The other question is about goaltending because it was really, really hot. So if we take a look at this, Wolf's tough night. This comes from an article from the Calgary Herald. The last one was from Sportsnet. But either way, nights like Wednesday are going to happen for a young goalie. And you certainly can't pin the result on Dustin Wolf. True, the Flames were just terrible top to bottom. He's been better this season, to be sure, and surely would have liked to stop more than 23 of the 28 shots he faced. With the exception of Barrett Hayton's goal late in the first period, though, you could fairly say any of Utah's other goals were really his fault. And it's totally true. Sorry, you couldn't fairly say any of those goals were his fault. And it's true. There was the one at the end of the first. Look, a lot of people on that play could have been better. Wolf definitely for sure, but either way, again, he was kind of hung out to dry in this one. Several came through screens, and Mikhail Sergachev's second period goal was also on a 5-on-3 after a somewhat questionable call against Blake Coleman while Anthony Mantha was already in the box. Again, some suspect reffing. At least we can't blame this whole game on the refs because we know just how bad the Flames were. Given that Dan Vladar also allowed 5 goals against the Golden Knights on Monday, we're probably no closer to knowing which one of the Flames' 2 options in net is going to take over and be given the majority of the playing time. You'd expect Wolf to bounce back the next time he plays, and the same can probably be said about Vladar. Neither guy was the main culprit in what's happened in the back-to-back losses the Flames suffered on the road this week. So the questions involving the goaltending, I've seen a lot of it online. It comes to, look, why are our goalies so bad all of a sudden? Or who's actually our number one goalie? Vladar stinks. He gave up 5. Wolf sucks. He gave up 5. He's not ready. It's not their fault. Sure, their stats don't look great, but if you really watch the games, or at least, the very least, the highlights, you can tell it's not really their bad. Wolf has still been really good and will be the number 1 of the future, so it's not that big of a concern, even if there are still questions being raised. Now let's wrap up this video with the comment of the day, as we love to do, and this one actually goes perfectly with this video. It was commented yesterday before the Utah game, and well, let's just say it had a slight bit of overshadowing. From Jim Anderson here, he said, if we lose to Utah tonight, just proves another point our manager's lack of awareness on which players we are filling up quickly for faster roster cycling. And it really does. I mean, you can blame the manager, you can blame the coaching of, who actually gets into the game, but at the end of the day, it is Conroy's decision to say who goes up and down, and obviously Huska is involved in those and all the coaching staff. So a lot of questions are being raised on not the competence of these people, but at least kind of where their heads are at with who needs to be playing in order for the Flames to win. And again, is that the plan? Is the plan for the Flames to win? I'm not too sure. Either way, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you have a happy Halloween. Please subscribe like what you saw here today and have a wonderful rest of your day.